Salve omnes! This will probably be the shortest and most simple review video we do. This is for week 4. This is late week 4. This is prepositional phrases, sid space and non-sid space prepositions. If you're familiar with this stuff, this should come right back to you. If you're not, this should not be very difficult at all. So I'm going to just get right into it. Cool. So prepositional phrase. In general, it's a short phrase within a sentence that describes the relationship between nouns in space or time. Examples be like in a house, on the street, with a friend, because of this, etc., etc. Prepositional phrases are typically made up of 2 parts. You got the preposition, the little word like in, on, near, behind, in front of, and then the object of the preposition. In what? In the trash can, behind the house, above the cloud. So in those examples, the second word, cloud, trash can, house, those would be the object of the preposition. Preposition and the object of the preposition come together to make a prepositional phrase. Simple. So here's what it would look like in Latin and English. Here are our prepositions over here. We got in, then the word carus would turn into in caro, in the car. Intramoenia, within the walls. Cum, hostis would turn into cum hoste, with the enemy. Ad multi amici would turn into ad multos amicos, to the many friends. So that's typically how they come together. You can see that if you just know the vocabulary, you can figure these out. It's really, the grammar of them is a little specific, but it's not integral to understanding what's being said. So this is all just for your information. This is not highly important stuff that you need to know or live or die by in regards to Latin. But we're going to get into some of the finer points just so you're familiar with it. So prepositions are generally pretty simple and usually can be understood simply by knowing the vocabulary. There are a couple of wrinkles and details specifically with how Latin treats objects of the preposition. That's that second word that goes with the preposition to make the prepositional phrase. So let's look at what those look like. In general, there are 2 types of prepositions. You have sid space prepositions and non-sid space prepositions. Sid space prepositions are 8 common prepositions for which the object of the preposition will be ablative, as opposed to non-sid space, which is the other dozens and dozens and dozens of prepositions for which the object of the preposition will be accusative. So sid space, 8 letters, S-I-D, S-P-A-C-E. 8 letters for the 8 common prepositions. This is a mnemonic device that'll help you remember the 8 that are special and are followed by an ablative noun, whereas all the other ones are followed by an accusative noun. So let's look. The sid space prepositions are right here. Sine, meaning without. Sine amicis, without the friends. In, for in or on. In mensa, on the table. De means about or down from. De bello, about the war. Sub means under, sub cane, under the dog. Pro, in front of or in favor of. Pro templo, in front of the temple. Ab or a means away from or by. Ab imperatore, by the emperor. A nave, away from the ship. Ab, you use this form, ab, when the next word starts with a vowel. So for example, ab imperatore. I is a vowel, so we'll use ab, so kind of like a and an in English. And then nave, away from the ship. There's no B because it's followed by an N, which is a consonant. Cum means with, cum senatore, with the senator. And then lastly, ex or out from, machina, out from the machine. Ex ignibus, out from the flames. Similar to ab and X comes before vowels, E comes before consonants. These 8 prepositions are important to remember. I will include them in our vocabulary review for this week. And they're just, if not for anything else outside of that, they're all pretty common and good to know. These prepositions will be followed by a noun in the ablative case. Any one that is not these 8 will have an accusative after it. And that's the major difference here. So non-sid space prepositions are followed by nouns in the accusative case. As indicated by the non, it's just any preposition that is not one of those 8. There are so many that's impossible to list them. But at the end of the presentation here, at the end of this presentation, I have a list of some important ones that will all be included, and we'll use those kind of as our reference point. Okay, so there is one weird thing because we can't just be simple. The SID space preposition in, meaning in or on, can be followed by either an ablative noun or an accusative noun. I'll call it a hybrid preposition because it's both SID and non-SID space. And this wouldn't be a big deal, except the case of the word after in changes the meaning of the word, determines whether in means in or into or onto. And those can, even though they're similar, mean pretty different things. The case of the object of the preposition determines whether in means in or on. That's if it's followed by an ablative, or into or onto if it's followed by an accusative. Let's look at this example with mountain before. In monte, and monte is ablative, third declension singular. That means in or on the mountain. Whereas in montem, the accusative, third declension singular right there, em, means into the mountain. Essentially, accusative shows that there's motion going on. So if you're just standing in a house, you'll say in huila. If you're walking into the house or you're walking in the house, but there's motion, you're moving in, then it'll be in huilam. So just kind of keep that in mind for the word in. All right, so some useful prepositions are here. There is a Quizlet with these terms loaded as part of the review for this week. You will see if they're SID space, like most of the ones over here, you'll see with abla, meaning with ablative after it. That means its object will be in the ablative case. And if you see, if you see with ac, that means it's non-SID space and it'll be followed by an accusative. Its object will be in the accusative case. And that's basically it. That is our preposition review for this week. There is a practice and a graded quiz for this. Basically just being able to recognize SID space or non-SID space and tell me how they're translated. Or how they differ. Which one is followed by an ablative noun, which one's followed by an accusative noun. And that's basically it. If you have any questions, as always, reach out. And in the meantime, walete.